Hi there. How are you? How's everybody doing this afternoon? I hope you're all well. I hope you're all safe and healthy, and hydrated, and I hope you're all good. But I'm going to share a couple of stories of from my youth when I was a young a young lassie. Yes, it seems like such a long time ago now. Um, but when I was younger, I used to bartend and I used to work as a hostess and a cashier and what else? Waitress, all that service, the service industry. That's I did a lot of that. Um, Always a way to make fast money, and well, I've always been able to survive and take care of myself. And then, well, having a baby at a young age, well, that just gave me more of a push. So, when I was younger, I would bartend in different locations, different areas, and most of the places that I worked in, um, they were they were organized crime places, and I say this because I'm being honest and being truthful. I didn't know what what the business the owners were about until you get there and you see the gig. You see like, oh, okay, oh. One place I worked in, Mount Vernon, New York. Um, Worked there for maybe 6 months. Well, one day when I go to work, uh, the place is being raided by the feds. And I'm like, makes sense now. There's a lot of shade going on in that place. So, I mean, it's, you don't know. Well, back then, now things are a little bit more clean. Uh, a little bit more. Not really 100% legit clean because nothing's ever clean. When it comes to making money, when it comes to a lot of industry, nothing's ever clean. This thing is turning. I thought it was possessed. I'm like, why is this freaking thing turning? And well, because I have my phone charging and because of the magnetivity and the electromagnetivity, it's making this, it's one of those little tripod holders that you can, that it follows you around. So if I wanted to prance around, I could prance around. But anyhow, so yeah, that was one place I've worked in, and that was one of the places where uh, people under under the influence of alcohol, and well, then you hear all the sob stories. You hear all the sob stories, and you hear. I gotta take this phone out because I'm making a little baddie here. Hold on 1 second. Okay, stop moving already, you. Why are you moving? It's got to be possessed. It's moving on its own. I didn't charge this thing. Okay. I guess there's a spirit in there. There's a spirit making this thing move around. The only way it moves is when it's charged. I guess it's got the charge from my phone. But anyhow, so that was the one place in Mount Vernon. And then this the same place, people drinking, and then you hear the sob stories. Oh, you know, like people, they're like, oh, and the bosses, like the people, the owners would say, kid, make that money. Feed into whatever bullshit they're telling you, make that money. I'm like, yeah, all right. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, I don't want no psycho trying to, follow me home. They're like, kid, don't worry about it. We got armed security behind. Don't worry about it. Nobody's bothering you. So that was one place, and then another place I worked in. You okay? When people are under the influence of alcohol, they can just become so, they let their guard down, right? So you hear like a lot of sob stories and all the sob stories of how, oh, I love my wife, but we just don't get along, and then oh gee, I'm so sorry. Meanwhile, you're like, where's the tip, asshole? Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh wow. Another, the boss would say, kid, get the money, get the money. Listen to their bullshit. Nobody's bothering you. Nobody's bothering you. And when you're young, you don't really, well, because I have seen stuff. Um, but when you're young, you learn a lot on how people operate, and you learn the game. You learn the game, and what I realized is like, well, shit, these people, they didn't make their money by selling freaking vacuum cleaners. They weren't knocking, they weren't salesmen. Not, hey, would you like to buy a vacuum? They made their money legitimately, like most businesses do, and you know, but yeah. So bartender stories, there was a lot of a lot of money to be made, and a lot of like I said, these people that own these joints, they didn't make their money by selling vacuum cleaners. They didn't come up with the fee to get a loan. A lot of people. So, but a lot of businesses, in general, a lot of businesses, they don't have clean money. They don't have clean money, and I mean back then. Now, well, even now money's not clean. Where do all these investors get their money from? Where do they get their money from? Um, we all know. We all know. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but yeah, the bartending. Let's see, I would get jewelry for tips, like people that were just like, they were like so enamored with me, and I was like, oh, okay, I could do this. I could take that money. I could stuff that money. And again, same thing. Don't worry about it, kid. Just make that money. Make that money. So yeah, those the business of altar boys and making money, right? But yeah, bartending, working as a hostess. I worked in one place. This is back 1980. My God, 1981. 81 or 82. Okay, there was this agency called in the city, Al Martino, and I had signed up with them. So I would go to different spots, or you call up for, there'd be an ad, and then go work in a place as a hostess. So one night I worked in this place, Chuchu Bianco, on First Avenue, Second Avenue between, like, it was because I took the train down there. I think it was like 68th. Anyway, I met Frank Sinatra. And then the people told me, they said, well, there's going to be celebrities that are coming in here, so you got to maintain your shit. No, they didn't say your shit. They were like, you got to be cool. Don't act like an idiot. And I was like, you got it. Because, me, I was like, I don't care who you are. You don't impress me. People don't impress me. And so, yeah, I met Frank Sinatra. He was pretty cute. He was very adorable. He was pretty dreamy. And I called my mother. I had to call my mother. Ma, Frank Sinatra's here. And she was like, can you get his autograph? And I was like, no. I said, I got to come home with money. I ain't worried about Frank Sinatra's autograph. And she was like, okay, okay. But yeah, yeah, a lot of places. And another place I worked in it was a diner that's on 57th Street. I worked there one day, and I said to the lady, am I coming back? And she was like, you know what she said? She was a Karen. She said, no, you're not the right type. I was like looking for a cup of coffee. I was like, oh, I'm not the right type. Yeah, but that's the kind of stuff. But yeah, a lot of stories, lots of stories. But fun stuff. Some not some fun stuff, but yeah. Businesses, money, businesses are years ago, even for like now. A lot of businesses, they're not legit. They're not legit. They're not squeaky clean, especially back then. So I am 65, God willing, in like a couple of days. Let's see, today's the third. A few more days. Um, Alhamdulillah, let's see. Um, so, wow, that's like a long time ago, man. Wow. Yeah. And then a lot of crazy stuff too. A lot of a lot of well, let's just say like this: a lot of hookups with people that were supposedly hooked up, and even noticing the DL stuff, and you know, if you grow up, you grow up in the city, and I'm an urbanite. I grew up in the city, so I've seen a lot. I've never been like that sheltered kid. Listen, I was born in Harlem. We used to go to the dentist on 125th in Lexington, Dr. Goldstein. Dr. Goldstein. Goldstein or Goldberg? Anyway, Lexington Avenue, 125th Street, up on the second floor. It was a union dentist, right? So back then, my sister's taking me. We both had to go to the dentist, and I see these people across the street, and this man and this woman, and he's pushing up against her, and I'm watching because we're waiting across the street, Lexington Avenue, and I'm watching, and I'm watching, and I'm like, that shit ain't right. That didn't look right. I was a little kid. I knew it wasn't right. My sister was like, "Don't look over there," and I was like, "Why? What are they doing?" And she said they're blanket, and I was like, "What? What's that?" And then she told me later. She was like, "But don't tell mom." So yeah, I mean, listen, you grow up in the city, you're not sheltered. You come from the city, you come from any urban area. Not you don't live that sheltered life, that little like mom and dad taking you in the station wagon, and you got your pigtails. You might be wearing, what the hell is that? You might be with the wave. Hey, wake up. You might be wearing pigtails, but you'll be seeing a lot more shit than other people. And well, what are you gonna do? That's how life goes. But yeah, lots of stories, lots of funny stories. Some not so funny, some not so funny. Like seeing people in a bad state from after imbibing a bit too much, or maybe doing other things, substances, passed out on bathroom floors. And it's like, oh God. And then let's see where else. I had worked in topless places, not topless, but with a leotard. Lots of money, yes, because the girls were a lot higher, and I was always the guys. Kid, make the money. Nobody's gonna bother you. Again, all organized crime places. Well, most of those booby bars, again, they didn't sell vacuum cleaners to buy these businesses. They weren't altar boys, or maybe they were. So but yeah, bartending, a lot of money, always money, and lots of characters, a lot of shady stuff, and because of how I grew up and where I grew up, I gotta say I saw a lot of stuff. I saw a lot of, like, not that, definitely not sheltered. One time coming home, um, some people, we went to see somebody who was away in jail, and I rode back. I drove with them, and then get into the city, and there's a homeless person, a lady. She was defecating on the street, and yeah, that was the first time I ever saw that. But what was upsetting was the fact that the people that came to see the person in jail, how they spoke about that. And I'm like, and I said, you know what? It's pretty funny. I said, it's pretty effed up that you're putting somebody down, but yet you're hooked up with people that are incarcerated for stuff that can possibly have contributed to this person's state of mind. They were like, oh, I was like, yeah, well, don't know where somebody's coming from. So I just, again, this is me. This is how I am. This is how I perceive people. I'm not that judge. I'm not the person to judge. It's like, oh, this poor person. Obviously, they're not well in a mental they're not well, cognizantly well, mentally well to be doing something like that in the street, right? But you know, but I always got to come across people that think they're smart, and I have to like kind of cap them at the no. Oh, hold on. Let's have a little thought process here going on before you spew shit. It's a good habit that people should acquire. I recommend it, you know, because like you never know. And then another time, while on one of the travel, I went to Las Vegas because I was gonna be a showgirl. No, I was actually gonna move out west. I was gonna go either to Los Angeles and work as a civilian with the police or the corrections, or Las Vegas. I was gonna hook up with them working as a what I did for the city of New York 9/11 operator, or even like the forensics because knowing about death and the cause of death and all that stuff has always been intriguing to me because of my background. And I don't. I could look at gory stuff and not get freaked out, except for when I found my husband. That just blew my mind. But that's because that's someone I'm personally closely involved with. You know, you sleep with somebody for X amount of years and you have an intimate relationship with them, and then you find them unalive. That's something that is very, very jarring. But yeah, people people do stuff and people are in bad state. But in Las Vegas, taking a cab from the hotel to go back to where I was staying, the hotel I was in, um, waiting at a traffic light, and then I see this was like a real crazy thing. This was upsetting. I found it to be disturbing, but then again, understanding human nature and how people behave and how people are not a lot of people aren't well. A homeless person, unhoused. I'm not saying an unhoused individual with no legs with a bag, so see that they had a colostomy bag, getting robbed by somebody, and it was like, wow, like just the depravity of what people can do and will do to other people. I mean, look at what's been going on in the Middle East. Look at this. This has been happening, and we pay for it, right? Depravity on the highest level of depravity. So, anyway, I just share these stories because, yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff. Some not good, some really not good, some stuff good. The good stuff is always the stuff that you gotta hold on to, and the bad stuff you see too, right? What could you do? What could you do? I mean, even as a kid, for whatever reason, why I've always like these freaking these encounters always crossed my path. As a kid, I was 14 years old. Going no, I was in high school, so I was 17, 16. 225th Street, White Plains Road. A lady train was coming. Right, she went boom, and I saw that, and I was like, my head was like, oh, yeah, I saw that, and yeah, that was, well, like I said, some of us we see stuff, we encounter stuff. I feel that for people that encounter these types of situations, that they're like lessons for us and they're timing experiences. That happened when I was a kid. Shit, hold on. Oh, my dog leaned on something. No, you didn't. Oh my God, is the house possessed? What's going on? What's going on? Oh my God, Did you do that? No, you didn't do that. You didn't do that. Oh, yeah. So I just got distracted. See, I got spirits. Spirits are turning my freaking the volume on my TV. I got the TV on. The remote was underneath the cushion. The dog is laying down. She did turn it on, but yeah, there was that incident. And then when I lived in Manhattan, um, so crazy too, because I just it was a lot going on. I kept on picking up on vibes. I'm walking into my apartment building, and I lived. There were three buildings that were adjacent. It was like a J type building. So I'm walking in, and I hear boom, and I'm like, what the hell is that? I thought it was like a truck that backfired or something, or construction because lived in Manhattan. There was always something going on, and then I walked to the courtyard, and I see a guy laying there, and I open the door and I go to see if he was okay. I thought he had like he fell or something. There were the kids that were playing in the courtyard, and I thought he was like a parent to one of the kids, or and he was like playing a game, like oh yeah, come get me, oh yeah, I fell. Like you play a game with kids like that, like kids will play. Anyway, so I didn't know what happened, so I see this guy, and then I go out and I go to bend down to him to touch him. Miss Sarah, you okay? And then when I was just about to touch him, and it was like a fountain. He was bleeding out, and yeah, because he was gone, and I was okay. And then yeah, and then 9/11 happened. So that happened in June, and then September 11th happened. So yeah, a whole lot of stuff. But anyway, I have more stories. I will share my stories. And, well, I'll just share my stories. Anyway, have a good one, everybody. Mrs. Beasley will be back. Oh, Mrs. Beasley with hypertension type 2. That freaking celery lemon water just didn't work out for me, man. See, my blood pressure was always low, like 110, 115, barely ever made 120. Yeah, so this is definitely disturbing. Well, reading my diagnostic reports, I a lot more entailed. Oh, it's 139 over 82. Okay. Well, as long as I don't go to 180 something where I was, where then I went to the ER. Yeah, I was like, okay, something's happening. But anyway, I'll be back. Bye. Have a good day, everybody. If you like what I have to say, follow my channel. If you don't, that's okay, because I'm not here to impress people. Life is not a popularity contest. I learned that a long time ago, too. Either you like somebody or you don't. That's it. Later.